You're a startup organization. You've got finite amount of money to spend anywhere, whether it's clinical trials, hiring people, space, accounting, what have you. So I'm going to share with you some things you want to think about, especially when it comes to the talent access part of adding to your team. Oftentimes I hear people say people are number one asset, yet the precision put into trying to create an awareness around your organization, get the people to be interested in your organization, lean in, and then execute on that is critical. And oftentimes it's a legacy approach that people have been bringing into this marketplace. It's either a legacy approach of posting and praying, or it's a legacy approach of calling exclusively in on your Rolodex. While your Rolodex has value to it, it shouldn't be the only place you're looking for talent. So I'm going to take you through some behind the scenes, actually tactics we use in our search firm that I want to give to you as a startup company because you're part of this Medtech strategist show. So let's jump in. So the world of work's changing. It's changing quite a bit. And what you want to think about when you find talent is think about it much like sales. You need to have a top of the funnel feed in of the individuals, the candidates at that top of funnel. And that top of funnel shouldn't declare itself 60 days out when you suddenly need to hire. You want that top of funnel to always be frothy with potential people leaning in. And the way to do that is taking advantage of the online tools that you have, increasing your reach. So let's go into some details. So first of all, let's know that the world of work is shifting. Even pre-pandemic, it's shifting. Virtual is in play now. How people are interviewing, how people are even becoming aware of opportunities, and you're actually getting more shots on goal on talent that if there was not this scenario we're in today, you would have never got a shot at. And I say that because those people have either been furloughed or out of work, and it's not their fault. It was the business model. People were either cutting back on clinical trials, cutting back on product development, preserving cash, burn rate. What is clear is the modes of communication plus the speed of access right now happening in the market is at a breakneck pace. We're seeing that with all the technologies, especially the ones that we're using right now in the health tech world, whether it's virtual engagement, remote monitoring, predictive analytics, any tech that is accelerating information in front of us. The same goes true on hiring people. So we are, though, in a two-way market. You have to remember that. This acceleration of technology is unprecedented for all products we're developing, but especially in the race for talent. But a majority of organizations have not looked at how they're going to change things. Look, let's look at a classic S-curve in any technology process or adoption rate. You've got the birth of a technology, which generally is your early adopters. And the birth of that technology and or process takes this classic S-curve. My graphics are off a little bit. Takes this graphic S-curve. So right now where we sit, we are sitting in a strange new world. In the midst of a pandemic, shifting of the world of work, the way people are engaging with organizations, suddenly now it's okay to be remote at a higher rate of acceptance than previously. And we're eventually going to all catch up. And that is going to occur in here. With any technology, any process, you've been in a high-tech field if you're in medtech or life tech, life science or health tech, you know eventually the market does get to here. But those who take advantage of that market in this area have a true competitive advantage. So I want you to keep that in mind as we go through hiring. Right now, classic hiring is at a full saturation rate. Everybody's trying to pull the same levers they always did. Their black book, their network, and they're posting jobs online and who can get referred to. That's a very small population. You need to increase your population. So let's slide through here. So how are you providing access to the talent to your market? These are the things you need to be asking yourself on a steady state. Please do not process talent on an on-demand basis. What I want you to think about doing is processing your talent access as a continuous flow, all right? Not in a batch mode like a lot of people run it on. And so if you run it properly, Technology has tremendously increased the speed of engagement, reduced the friction rate, has sort of allowed us to be able to reach out on Zoom, on the phone, on text, on email, on InMail. Now, how you court that talent online around your company, your product, your reputation, and driving that reach is going to make all the difference in the world. Remember, my goal here is to have you preserve your cash for your tech, for your clinical trials. For certain key hires, you may have to go out and use a search firm or a headhunting company. But what I'm sharing with you today are tactics and mindset on how you don't have to pay search. Tactics and mindset on how you're going to get the right people lining up earlier, so you're not just hiring the people available in a 60-day window. Let's look at the world of work for a second. Pre-pandemic, we had 160 million people employed in the US. 65% of those people, again, pre-pandemic, had a full-time job. These physics still hold true. 35% of those have a job that is contract or interim. I am having more and more conversations with clients right now who are hiring in a contractor interim phase of their organization. They're all remote, and we have to do that. Well, we don't have to, but it's actually harder not to right now to keep the ball moving on remote. And these are not FTEs, full-time employees. They're on a contract space. So if we look at the workforce, certainly the workforce, what is it, 66% are full-time employees. 33% are either contract, gig, or interim. Now, while this is still the largest part, the highest rate of acceleration is this category. This category right now has a different trajectory. We are now having the workforce go from 4 years full-time down to 3 years, and we have the interim world going from 1.5 years up to 2.5 years. So while the larger population is still FTE, the rate of acceleration of growth is happening in the contract world, and people are used to it. So go ahead and also think of that as a potential solution for you. Social tools. I look at, you got a couple. You got Instagram, you've got Facebook, you've got Twitter, and you got LinkedIn. Instagram is not for business. It's an escapism. Facebook is really more of alumni follow-up and family and friends. Twitter is bubblegum news. And LinkedIn is a learning platform. If you use it or process it in your brain any different than that, you're cheating yourself. This is where you want to be. Do not mistake duck lip video that your teenage niece blew it for you, or your grandmother putting really cute kitty cat videos online on these platforms especially, but not this platform. So don't let that behavior ruin your thought process on the appropriate use of the platform. The customer really doesn't care if you like social, understand social, want to use social, but they care that you're on it. So the same way I firmly believe, the same way that your core competencies might be selling, your core competency may be marketing, your core competency may be product development, your other core competency needs to be able to spread attention and awareness around your organization, your market, your leadership, and your mission. Those are things that need to be done on social media. And I use social media very loosely, but really what I'm talking about is the use of media platforms that happen to be on the internet, to be more precise. So don't make the mistake. Same tool, different ROI. One of my favorite slides here. So true also on social platforms. What I want you to think about doing is creating an inbound business that you have a steady stream of candidates, individuals coming in over a 3, 6, 9, 12-month period. If you've got a hire going on for a regulatory person in, let's call it April of 2021, you should right now be bombarding the marketplace, especially with Reg and Clin people. You should be bombarding the marketplace with the opportunity that you have coming up. Because as you know, Reg and Clin people need a longer period of time to disengage from, and therefore they're used to looking for their next job 6 months, 8 months in advance than a product development engineer or a product manager or a manufacturing engineer. So what I want you to do is think about creating an inbound business for your organization when it comes to candidate flow. And that inbound business will allow you to close a lot quicker, because if your business right now is purely outbound in the form of a job posting, you are begging for attention. But if you create awareness and intention around content about your company, your mission, the market especially that you're serving, because I know you can't make clinical claims around your device pre-clearance or pre-approval. However, what we can talk about unequivocally is the problem that you're trying to solve in the market, and that therapy and/or disease state. You can certainly talk about that. So I want you to think about creating awareness and attention around your business that will drive inbound interest from the market. You'll be filling up your bench. And again, this is not meant to replace your outbound activities to the market, meaning job postings and/or phone calls to friends and family and your network. But what it does do is once you put that content out there, it increases your efficiencies dramatically. So historically, your legacy mindset has you making calls to your network, throwing more and more time, money, and effort at putting job postings online. That is less than optimal use of time. You don't get more out of it the more you work it. You typically will get a high level of saturation early and often when you pull that trigger. So I need to have you thinking about new ways to engage with your marketplace, which is on social platforms, on the internet, right? And that social platform is LinkedIn. So don't try and solve a problem by throwing a bigger hammer at that problem. 3 things for you to dominate in the talent access world: ongoing communication, medium to high cadence, a great story about your product and/or service and the problem you're solving. And then finally, super hard, smart work in cultivating those relationships. Those relationships do need to be nurtured once people engage with you. All right? If you get out communicated over time, you will absolutely lose. An average product with a higher level of reach, communication, and engagement with the market will always beat a better product with a lower level of engagement and communication with the market. Your people need to know that you even exist, right? If one of your core competencies in the emerging landscape is the ability to increase your reach, and you are not actively working on that, talking about your product to strategics and/or VCs, talking about your market and product to the candidates who are going to come in, the individuals who are going to come in that you want to hire, you are going to be at a disadvantage versus the people who do drive that. Here's the good news in closing. You are not alone. Nearly every single company, let alone a startup, is trying to solve this problem. It's not a hard problem to solve, but what it is, it's a change in mindset. So all organizations are facing this transition. This is where that gap in arbitrage, and you're going to see in my next presentation, this is where that gap in arbitrage is going to occur, and those that crack that gap in arbitrage are going to have an enormous competitive advantage based on the people that they hire and based upon the relationships that they're going to have with their market, VCs and strategics, for an exit. I'm Joe Mullings. Hope this helped. Be well.